So, ancient education system in India, a way of life. In ancient India, both formal and informal ways of education system existed. Indigenous education was imparted at home, in temples, pathshalas, tolls, chat- chatuspadis, and gurukuls. There were people in homes, villages, and temples who guided young children in imbibing pious ways of life. Pious means pavitra, holy. Temples were also the centers of learning and took interest in the promotion of knowledge of our ancient system. Students went to vihars and universities for higher knowledge. Teaching was largely oral, and students remembered and meditated upon what was taught in the class. Indigenous means originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Vihar, Buddhist monastery, right. So, Gurukuls, also known as ashrams, were the residential places of learning. Many of these were named after the sages, situated in forest, in serene and peaceful surroundings. Hundreds of students used to learn together in Gurukuls. Women too had access to education during the early Vedic period. Among the prominent women Vedic scholars, we find references to Maitreyi, Vishambhara, Apala, Gargi, and Lopamudra, to name a few. During that period, the gurus and their shishyas lived together, helping each other in day to day life. Wow. Reading this line, I get a funny, imagination to my mind right now. It says during that period, the gurus and their shishyas lived together, helping each other in day to day life. But if I talk about today's scenario, the shishya would want the guru to be there, helping him every day and night. Yes or no?
Yes.
This is fact. All right. So the main objective
No,
was.
ma'am.
No, ma'am. I am the experienced person, so you can say, yeah, say. If I consider about five to have four people in a batch of 37 or maybe 40, leaving 4 or 5 people, maximum are like these. They will, kindly remind us, refer to the ancient education system and do not forget your duties. Hey, you teacher. Hey, you guru. This way the trend has changed. So now coming back to the text, the main objective was to have complete learning, leading a disciplined life and realizing one's inner potential. The actual objective of considering and creating and including all these different zones means mental, physical, social, emotional, spiritual, was to make the pupil realize his own inner potential, है ना? तभी हम कहते हैं ना कि बच्चे जब तक सेल्फ स्टडी नहीं करेंगे खुद से, जब तक इफ द स्टूडेंट until and unless he starts to study, he starts feeling like to study, till that point nothing will work, nor even the constant words of hope, faith, guidance, nothing. So you need to take the charge of your own life, right? Do not expect others to do some magic thing and then things will start working for you. You need to find out things for yourself only. Students lived away from their homes for years together till they achieved their goals. The Gurukul was also the place where the relationship of the Guru and the Shishya strengthened with time. While pursuing their education in different disciplines like history, art of debate, law, medicine, etc., the emphasis was not only on the outer dimensions of the discipline but also on enriching inner dimensions of the personality, right? Have you understood? Do I need to explain again? The text is very simple, yet so pregnant with meaning, right? So, why were travelers attracted towards India? What were the sources of ancient
Ma'am,
education system? What were the features of education system in ancient India? And what was the role of gurus in people's lives? Yes, so if you wish to answer, One by one. Aditya, you speak up for the first one.
The travelers were attracted towards India because of the educational system and the uh, yeah, because of the educational system in India, ma'am.
Elaborate on this. If this question comes in 3 marks or maybe 5 marks, then you need to support your answer. Why? Even if they were attracted towards the education system of India, what made them do so? What was the special and X factor about the education system of India then? Right? You can go for a comparison, or maybe if not comparison, you can highlight on the special silent features. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so who will answer the fourth one? What was the role of gurus in people's lives?
No matter.
Speak loudly.
Many the Gurus and their peoples work constantly together to become proficient in all aspects of learning. In order to assess people's learning, Shastra, non-debates were organized. Also, people had advanced stage of learning by
Rajneesh,
modern
it's not people's, it's pupil.
pupils.
Pew,
Pupils.
pupil,
Pupil.
प्यूपिल बच्चों को, स्टूडेंट्स को प्यूपिल कहा जा रहा है. इट इज अ सिनोनिम, पर्यायवाची. सो है ना, उसको उसी तरीके से पढ़ेंगे. पीपल तो वो हो गया ना, जनता, आम जनता. अगर आप वैसे साउंड करोगे तो यानी कि PEOPLE, लेकिन आप PUPIL बोल रहे हो, है ना, तो वो प्यूपिल होगा. क्या होगा?
Pupils.
Pupil. Very good, very good. Continue, continue.
Yes, ma'am.
So is your answer finished? Do you want to add something more?
No.
Okay, right. So he has mentioned how, basically his answer is focused on the functional role what the guru was doing, what was the responsibilities of the guru. And as the latest and the recent para which we just read, it also highlights how these two people were, people here I'm saying people, were related. Who are these two people? The guru and the shishya, the guru and the pupil, the student, and the disciple. So they would live together for years, helping each other, performing the rituals, learning the facts, and other things, Vedas and whatnot, cultures, scriptures, a number of things. So it helped the student to build his personality. It helped the student in building his overall personality, in achieving the holistic, holistic development. Whose mic is on? Rajneesh, mute yourself, dear.
Sorry, ma'am.
It's okay. Right,
Can
so
I elaborate
Aditya, say again.
Ma'am, shall I elaborate the first one again?
Uh, yes, you may.
Ma'am, in ancient India, ma'am, the Indian culture, religion, architecture were widely spread all over the world. And the travelers thought that the land of India was full of wonders, so that was the reason they were attracted towards India.
Right. Right. Now, I think the second and third question you people can do. Should I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, in in part 1, you have read about the ancient education system in ashrams, gurukuls, and the way of life in them. This system continued to flourish during the time of the Buddha and the subsequent periods. Many monasteries, vihars, were set up for monks and nuns to meditate, debate, and discuss with the learned for their quest for knowledge during this period. क्वेस्ट फॉर नॉलेज है ना, एक किसी खास व्यक्ति विशेष की अगर कोई ऐसी तीव्र इच्छा है कि भाई उन्हें किसी चीज का ज्ञान लेना है, तो वो कहाँ का रुख करते थे? दे वुड directly approach.
Moksha.
Yes, they would prefer to be a monk, to be a nun for entire their life, for and they would devote themselves, so thereby quenching their thirst for quest of knowledge. Yes, yes or no? Around these vihars, other educational centers of higher learning developed, which attracted students from China, Korea, Tibet, Burma, Ceylon, Java, Nepal, and other distant countries. So these vihars were not only limited to a mass, to a pupil, to a percentage of person from one area, but all spaces were open. I think the entire world was open. People were coming, and right, they would be glad to learn knowledge from these centers of learning. Now, vihars and universities, the Jatak tales accounts given by, now I don't know properly how to pronounce this.
Uh, uh,
Do you know?
ये कहाँ श्वान है आई थिंक
Xuan Zhang and Iking. Look up for
यस
the look up for their pronunciation. I'm waiting here till I'm not naming or pronouncing these words.
about them in class 6
All
in
right.
history.
Okay. So these are Xuan Zhang and Iking. So these are Chinese scholars. What do you mean by a scholar? Who is a scholar?
Ma'am, those who ma'am prepare documents, ma'am, like Aryabhatta in India, ma'am,
So
India
merely
scholar.
merely using phrases like those who prepares documents, it will not be suitable, right? I guess these are people who were occupied with higher education. They were doing, they devoted themselves
Yes, sir.
to learn about any culture or about any specific text, scripture, and they would keep on doing so. There wasn't any set, time period, and entire their life they were busy with that. So, and a scholar in Hindi is Vidwan, right? And a Vidwan, nowadays we called as the person who pursue higher education, like usually after your masters, you can enroll yourself as a PhD student, or maybe you can carry on some research in science and technology field, in management, in commerce, and whatnot. And then you study a specific thing. You explore the unidentified, the unexplored portions. You know, that's what happened in a research. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
In a research, person explores the unexplored part of a certain thing. Right. Every now and then we keep on getting these news that, Einstein's theory E equals to mc square. People are still working to challenge it, or maybe there is something more than that. Right. So what are they? What would you call to these people? Are they not like scholars?
Yes, ma'am.
They are, certainly they are, right? So as well as other sources tell us that kings and society took active interest in promoting education. It means not only the scholars were inclined, were indebted, were devoted, but they got the support of the kings and the society also of that time. All were very, like cooperative together. They all uh, gave education a chief most preference, a priority. As a result, many famous educational centers came into existence. Among the most notable universities that evolved during the period were situated at Takshashila, Nalanda, Vallabhi, Vikramshila, Odantapuri, and Jagaddala. These universities developed in connection with the Bihars. So those who were studying in Bihar, subsequently they went on for higher education in these places of higher learning, right? Those at Banaras, Navadip, and Kanchi developed in connection with temples and became centers of community life in the places where they were situated. These institutions cater to the needs of advanced level students, यानी कि जो बच्चे पढ़ने में बहुत ही advanced थे. Such students joined these centers of higher learning and developed their knowledge by mutual discussions and debates with renowned scholars. Not only this, there was also occasional summoning by a king to a gathering in which the scholars of the country of various vihars and universities would meet, debate, and exchange their views. You know, such a gathering is also a resource to learn, to come across, to upgrade, to update one's knowledge. And why the king would be behind it. He too would, every now and then they would also summon. Summon means they want that thing to happen, maybe in their own kingdom or in their own uh, what in their own rule, so that they also can be benefited. They also can seek knowledge. They also can update them, right? Um, that's why it is written that the kings were so supportive because they themselves were also very much inclined for education. So, in this section, we will give you glimpses of two universities of the ancient period. These universities were considered among the best centers of learning in the world. Which are these? These have been recently declared heritage sites by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, in short, UNESCO. Right? So, the first one before you is Takshila or Takshashila, right? That we were discussing in second period. So let's have a look. In ancient times, Takshashila was a noted center of learning, including religious teachings of Buddhism, for several centuries. It continued to attract students from around the world. Is my voice clear enough? Okay, okay. So, for several centuries, it continued to attract students from around the world until its destruction. Bad. Destruction in the 5th century CE. So, CE stands for any guesses? CE, CE. Common era. Huh? Who said common era? Abhinav, I wish to know more about this common era. Say if I don't know anything and I wish to know more. Explain me. Simplify this common era equation into one variable. Huh? What is it? Into the ear of the ear of the Lord.
Early 1700s.
Okay, so I am leaving it here. You people scratch more, accumulate the info, and do share with me on my personal number of WhatsApp. I would be looking forward to it. So, I think it's time. Yeah. God. Ah. So the bell will be sharply heard in video also. All right, so I'm winding it up. Let me finish this para. It was known for its hire. Summon means to officially arrange a meeting of people, and yeah. So it was known for its higher education, and the curriculum comprised the study of ancient scriptures, law, medicine, astronomy, military science, and the 18 silpas or arts. Right? So we shall be looking forward to it in the next. Do read, revise, make notes, and enrich yourself with this factual account. Thank you so much.